Hey guys, I think there were some people watching, but I didn't see anybody in the chat just yet. But I goofed up and had some technical issues. I was trying to hit go live from inside of OBS, and that kind of screwed things up. So I had to very quickly create my stream or recreate my stream and re-put the link on there. So that might have messed some people up. Um, Well, actually, it doesn't have IBS X ray. It was actually my goof. I thought I could just from within OBS hit go live and then that would transfer over to YouTube, but evidently it didn't. It just kept, it showed that I was live, but it showed just a black screen. So I was like, yeah, that's not right. So I may not be able to do it that way. I was just, I guess, trying to streamline things. It kind of blew up in my face. So that was my boo boo there. But I think I've got it fixed now. But if there's anybody that was trying to go to the old link, they may have to, hey, Menelec, they may have to go and click on the new link that I just put up on my Deadites on Deck Facebook page and also my personal Facebook page. But so I know that the Dead Pit guys are doing like cheesiest horror movies of all time or something at 9 o'clock, which it totally will not hurt my feelings if you guys want to leave around 9ish and go see what they're up to. But I'm just doing this one because I wanted something to do, and I find these fun, and I'm not trying to, take viewers away from anybody else. It's just me just wanting to hang out and like with whoever wants to hang out and talk about a few movies. I did get like some feedback from Steve on my new Dana on Deck logo, my new Evil Dead chick logo. And he basically said they were both too big, and the Evil Dead chick one, he didn't like how it looked. So he said I needed to put it behind me where it wasn't over top of me. But before I could get that to work, I had to get my green screen set up, and then I was able to put it behind my camera, and it still shows up. Otherwise, it doesn't show at all. But not that you guys care or need to know that, but Steve probably thinks I should have kept the ones that I had up there, but I was just trying to do something new and something I actually created instead of something somebody else created. And you may hear the thunder in the background. I didn't know it was supposed to storm tonight, so hopefully we won't lose any electricity while I'm doing this, and hopefully I won't get struck by lightning while I'm sitting in front of my computer doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and push on. And try to do this live stream. Actually, you say Steve got his master's in graphic design and hentai. Hentai, he knows his shit. Texas, you say, damn, you're screwing my viewing nights. Really, well, like I was telling people earlier, Texas, I said that I know the Dead Pit Boys got something going on tonight at 9 o'clock. So if people have to bow out of mine to go see what they're up to, I totally don't have a problem with that. I'm just on here because I just wanted to hang out with a few people and talk about a few movies. Yeah, sorry about that, Dirk. I was telling everybody earlier that I guess I was trying to be too smart for my own good. And I was trying to actually hit go live from within OBS instead of hitting start streaming and then going to YouTube and hitting the go live there. That didn't work so hot because it was saying that I was live, but it was just showing a black screen. It wasn't showing my Evil Dead background or anything like that. So I was like, oops. So I had to end that stream and hurriedly create another stream and update my links on my Deadites on Deck Facebook page and my personal Facebook page. So I hope that did not mess too many people up, because I was just trying to do something to streamline it and kind of backfired on me. X-Ray, you say it depends who they have on. Gotta be the OG Dead Pit niggas. um, I think they're gonna have a guest on there tonight. But if you want to go check that out and see, that's fine. Hey, Noah. Yeah, crisis averted, kind of. Dirk, you say, I see we're talking favorite possession movies. This ought to be great. Yeah, I just came up with this idea this afternoon because, not that I'm trying to, I remember, I think it was you, Dirk, that said quality over quantity. But I just like doing these so much that I've been doing them basically every day or every evening this week. So, and who knows, I may do something tomorrow night. And I'm going to try to get through this one tonight if the storms don't knock everything out, like power and internet and all that. In which case, we may have to do this one tomorrow if I lose power or anything. So, or we may never get it if I get struck by lightning sitting in front of my computer, but I'm going to brave it. I'm going to try to do it. Exorcist 3, you say, X-Ray? Well, I'll be totally honest with you, X-Ray. I thought about including that one in this group, but the only problem with that was, and why I decided against it, and you guys feel free to talk about Exorcist 3 because I think it's a great movie and a great possession movie, but I already have the original Exorcist in this group that I'm going to talk about tonight, so I didn't want to have overkill with Exorcist movies. So that is why I decided for my group of movies that I'm going to be talking about, I would leave the Exorcist 3 off. Yes, X-Ray, we're going to be talking about demons, and heck, we might even talk about demons too, as well. Sorry, Dirk, I'm not going to talk about Hereditary, but you guys feel free to talk about it in the chat if you want to. Yeah, I actually, have the, I think I have that in my wheelhouse, guys. I think I pulled out the wrong one. I pulled out my Slumber Party Massacres when I meant to have Sorority House Massacre too. But instead of showing a visual for that, I'll actually talk about it if you guys don't let me forget. Because I definitely did have that one in here. Now, there are some of these that I'm going to talk about tonight that you may think, yeah, that's a stretch as far as a possession movie. But I just wanted to throw in a few different odds and ends in there. That thunder's getting louder. But, and again, you guys feel free to put your favorites in there because I'm sure that your list is not going to be exactly the same as mine on these. And these are not every single possession film that I love. These are just a select few. Otherwise, I might be here till next week. And this is another one I might decide to do a second or third part maybe to it. No, you say, I can see the quality over quantity statement applying here. I think a lot of possession films retread the same old ground. Yeah, you're right, Noah. They kind of get stuck in a groove making one type of possession movie. So I definitely see that. No, X-Ray, I don't think Exorcist 3 is too normy. And I definitely want you guys to bring up things about your favorite possession movies, even if they're not what I cover. Yeah, Dirk, Amityville 2. I was in the same boat with the Amityville movies that I was with the Exorcist movies. Amityville 2 has pretty much an overt possession in it. I mean, it was blatant. Um, on the other hand, I wanted to cover the Amityville Horror, the original, because I feel like there's possession in that as well. And I'm going to talk about why I think that. But again, you guys feel free to throw in your favorites in there, even if they differ from what I'm talking about. No, you said, what about Girlfriend from Hell? Well, that could certainly fit in with it, Noah, and I would be more than happy if you guys talked about it during this live stream. But I don't believe I've ever seen Girlfriend from Hell, so I don't feel like that I could adequately, can't even talk tonight, talk about it. Yeah, Texas, I almost pulled out The Beast Within, but then I thought, well, let's talk about a few more of these different ones. But again, that's another great one. You guys feel free to throw things out there at will. You know, we'll just have a party in here tonight. Repossessed, Noah, that's another good one. Not one I had on in my list, but it is another good one. Dirk, you say King Paimon in Hereditary is one of the 8 kings of hell. There you go. Hell Paimon, you say, Noah. Before the storm overtakes us here in Louisville, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, you guys feel free to throw out whatever. And I will be glancing at the chat as I go through my list, and you guys feel free to add or comment on what I'm talking about or anything basically. No, that is fine. Don't be sorry about that at all. I like that because it shows that you guys want to be active participants in the chat. And that's part of what makes these live streams fun for me is when people are active in the chat. If you guys just sat back there and didn't say anything, and I was just up here blabbing, that I don't think that would make for a very productive or entertaining live stream. Middle Lake, you say, would Split count as a possession film if he is possessed by different personalities only? Yeah, I think so. I completely think so. And my light has already went out, guys. I don't know. I am going to have to get some better batteries because the light is great with the green filter now, but it just does not last very long. So give me 1 second. I'm going to put the Evil Dead background up, and I'm going to go switch out this light real quick. Okay. The only thing about me moving that picture to the back is if I slide my green screen over too much, cuts out that picture. But you guys probably aren't paying that much attention to the pictures. You're probably focusing more on what I'm talking about and stuff. Dirk, you say possession with Sam Neill is a trip. I love Sam Neill movies, but I'm not so sure that I've seen that one. I may need to watch that one soon. Noah, you say at intellect. I would have said no offhand, but now that I think about it, there's an implication that the beast is something other. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That is one too, Dirk, that I would probably like to cover on a second show. Because that is like, to me, that's like a second wave of possession type films. You know what I mean? Like we had all those things from The Exorcist on, and then, you didn't see a lot of them, in my opinion, for a while, and then it seemed like they started back up again. Like you say, at Noah Sandra, I was thinking about the beast as a supernatural element. Yeah. Um, yeah, the Evil Dead, all of them, actually, you're absolutely correct on that, Dirk. The reason why I'm not covering them in this group is because I've talked about the Evil Dead films till people are probably sick of them. I mean, my screen name is Evil Dead Chick, and I'm a huge, huge fan of the Evil Dead movies. So I decided to leave those out of my list for this list. And tried to, incorporate some different ones that I may have not talked about in other live streams. But again, you guys feel free to throw out whatever movies that you want to talk about. Actually, you say, does Body Parts with Jeff Fahey count? Only flaw in that film is it lacks a weird scene of Jeff Fahey nude playing with a lamp. Oh my gosh, yes, that was so bizarre. That was Psycho 3, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Psycho 3, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Dark, I am going to talk about the original Conjuring film. Texas, I've heard of Sugar Hill, but that's another one that I don't believe I've seen. You can feel free to talk about in the chat, though. Like you say, I have to add Halloween since Michael Myers is supposedly possessed by pure evil. Yeah, like I thought about adding that one to my list as well. But then I thought, well, Halloween's another movie that I've talked about quite a bit. And so I was trying to, like I said, insert a few newbie films on my list. Not necessarily new movies, but ones that I haven't talked about at all, or I haven't talked about much. Darky said, Body Parts, I would say he's possessed by the serial killer. And there's several movies like that that I could have included and didn't. No, you say, could one argue that films like The Thing and Body Snatchers is a sci-fi take on the possession theme? Yeah, that was something I was actually thinking of as well. You guys are really throwing out some great ones there, and ones that I'm thinking maybe I should have included and did not on this stream. But there's always room for like a second or third or whatever if I wanted to do that. So, you guys keep chatting in there. I did not add the doll Chucky, but that is another excellent choice, Like you guys are really on top of it tonight with these possession films. But like I said, you guys go ahead and keep throwing things out in the chat. I'm going to be looking at that periodically as I go through my list of films. And these are pretty much in alphabetical order because I just pulled them off my shelf in the order they were on the shelf. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I had such a large stack. You're probably thinking, oh, good Lord, she's going to go on forever. That I had to move them over there on top of my PC tower. But as promised, I'm going to talk about the Amityville Horror first. This is the original Amityville Horror, not that horrible remake that I hated. And even though, Margot Kidder was known to have said that this was a piece of shit, basically. Um, on the other hand, I think this is a great movie. Whether you believe the Lutz's story about what happened in that house in Amityville or not, from a horror movie standpoint, this movie is excellent, in my opinion. And not only do you have Margot Kidder on it, you have James Brolin, you have Rod Steiger. Um, this movie has some really creepy elements to it. Sorry, guys, I'm eating some pecan halves here just to have a little snack. Um, I mean, the majority of this movie to me is creepy. Um, just the minute you see that house and the music playing in the background, before even any person shows up on the screen or any action is going on, then once you get past the atmospheric opening with the credit sequence, the title credit sequence, you then have a little snippet of what supposedly happened to the DeFeo family, which was the first family to own the house. And so you get that, and that is just kind of like unsettling, I guess would be the best way to describe that. And especially unsettling if you know the real story behind all of that stuff. Because basically in this movie, they're carting out all these dead bodies, and the cops are talking like what went on, and like a whole family was basically killed. And again, whether you believe what happened to the DeFeo family was related to supernatural elements or not, that storyline is still very creepy. And you guys brought up Amityville 2. Amityville 2 is pretty much loosely based on what happened to the DeFeo family. But with a few like embellishments thrown in there, because I certainly hope that there was not any kind of incestuous relationship between the brother and sister like there was in Amityville 2, but you never know. And also, I don't believe after they brought Ronnie DeFeo in, that he like turned into a demon, basically. It wasn't, it definitely wasn't described that way. Yes, Prince of Darkness, Dirk. I have that one in my group to talk about. Yes, Noah, werewolf films would be, in my opinion, a type of possession. Even vampires. Really, Noah, you've never actually seen the OG Amityville Horror. I highly recommend it. Dirk, I'm going to not be talking about Event Horizon, but I'm going to be talking about Night of the Demons tonight. Dirk, you say, yeah, no, the lycanthropy curse for sure. And a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot of people, but some people have said that this is really not a good film. Not a good horror film, not a good representation of what the Lutz family went through. But this is generally what happens when Hollywood gets a hold of a story, a hot story. Even George Lutz, in his later years before he passed away, had to admit that some of the stuff was embellished, not by him, but by Hollywood. But instead, people chose to say that George Lutz was a fraud. His wife was a fraud, that they lied about what happened in that house. Um, Other people have said that there was no supernatural elements that led to the DeFeo murders. But I am skeptical on that because, yeah, I do believe in ghosts and different entities like that. Um, and so it is said by people that study demonology and ghosts and all that stuff that if there's some kind of demonic entity that is causing havoc in a house or other area, that sounds will be silent. Okay? So it was said that Ronnie DeFeo went into the house and methodically shot every member of his family in the head with a high powered shotgun. Shotguns are loud. Trust me, I grew up with a dad that was a hunter. I have heard guns. I know that they're loud, shotguns especially. Rifles, not so much, but shotguns, yeah, they have one heck of a blast to them. So, when Ronnie DeFeo methodically shot everybody in his family in the head with a shotgun, this was like multiple family members, and nobody in the neighborhood heard anything. How is that possible? It's not, to me. So I am just really skeptical of people that say that the Lutzes were frauds, that they created this whole story along with Ronnie DeFeo's lawyer, to make a quick buck. Another thing I find to be skeptical about, if somebody considers George and Kathy Lutz frauds, they left that house in one hell of a big hurry after being there for 28 days, I think. They left all their furniture, clothes, stuff like that, probably mementos that meant a lot to them. They left in a damn big hurry. And the only things they took basically was the clothes on their back, their kids, and the dog. So, why would somebody do that? You know, why would they leave behind things that meant so much to them, family mementos and stuff like that, if there was not something going on there? But on the other hand, when we're dealing with this movie, we're dealing with a Hollywood representation of the events that transpired. Okay? So, we got James Brolin playing George Lutz. We have Margot Kidder playing Kathleen Lutz or Kathy Lutz. And then we have their 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. And so George is the stepfather. Kathy already had the kids prior to meeting George. So in the movie, he's kind of, getting his feet wet as far as being a father. The kids are trying to get to know him. There's one scene where George and Kathy are talking, and the kids call him George, and he said, well, I must admit it's better than that Mr. Lutz crap that they were giving me. So it's one of those deals where the kids are trying to get used to their new stepfather. The stepfather's trying to get used to the kids and trying to make a life with both the kids and their mother. So the atmosphere is already tense before they move into this house. And George and Kathy discuss, the pros and cons of taking this house. This house, they got an excellent deal on the house because of the tragedy that happened there with the previous tenants. And And Kathy says, I wish so many people hadn't died here. And it's like she gets a cold chill. Um, and there's I find this scene, I find several scenes in this movie disturbing. But when the realtor is showing them the house, as they go into each room, it flashes back to what happened to the family that lived there prior to the Lutzes moving in. And you see the son killing everybody in the family slowly and methodically. And it just kind of like freezes the film on the realtor as as she's telling George and Kathy about the house, and then flashes to this ultimate violence. Sorry, my throat started tickling, and also my cough has decided that it's gonna come back with a vengeance. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not crying. It's just this cough. See if I can get my throat to clear up. Derek, you mentioned Insidious. Yeah. That one is another one that, no, I didn't have it in my group, but I would consider it a possession film. No, you say, I need to see it. I put it off out of distaste for DeFeo's BS. Yeah, Ronnie DeFeo, over time, he seemed to say, yeah, I was possessed by something. And no, I wasn't possessed by anybody. I killed my family. To saying that he didn't kill them at all, that somebody else did. So, yeah, that I never, it was probably a lawyer trying to get him some kind of plea deal, but I don't think it ever worked because didn't Ronnie DeFeo die in prison? I thought he did. No, you say Insidious 2 for sure, SPC. Darky said, Amityville Horror is a classic and screwed me up. First watch as a kid. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how old I was when I first saw it, but in all actuality, I was probably too old to be watching, or I mean, too young to be watching it. Um, but I mean, I wasn't like 5 or 6, but I was probably in the 12 or 13 age range. Darky say 12 gauge high brass gun gonna make your ass wake up. LOL. Exactly. That's what I've said for a long time. Darky say the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez claimed he was possessed. He certainly did. That guy freaks me the hell out. The thing about possession stories in films is being a believer makes it more believable. Therefore, it's scarier than other horror genres. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Dirk, because me and Steve have these discussions, and I know that I brought up my couple of visits to Waverly Hills here in Louisville, and both times that I went, one time was a 2 hour long kind of once over of the building and the death tunnel and all of that. And that was with Steve. And I got the most awesome picture when we went. I didn't even realize I had it until I got home, and I had my pictures blown up on my PC, and I was just going through them just to see if there was anything maybe I missed. And I came across one picture that I was like, holy cow. In the very back, there were several people that were in our group, and then we had a guide that was taking us around. But back behind everybody seemed to be hovering and watching was a girl or woman who was not dressed like anybody. She had clothes that looked like from the 20s. Upon further inspection, it seemed that she had a hat with a ribbon that was similar to hats from the 20s. Her hairstyle was definitely not the hairstyle for modern times. I actually looked at women's hairstyles from the 20s, the mid to late 20s, and it looked just like this one. And it was like she was just watching us. So I called Steve from the living room into the back room where we have our computers. And I said, "Hey, Steve." He said, "What?" I said, "Come look at this picture." I said, "Was this person in our group?" And he looked at it. He said, "No, Dana." He said, "You're freaking me out." And he didn't stay around much longer. But then most of the time, Steve claims that he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. But yet, he doesn't like me messing with Ouija boards. And I actually have a handmade Ouija board, or Ouija, I should say, pronounce it correctly, which brings up another movie that could be considered possession movie would be Witchboard, which I don't, which is a Kevin Tenney film, just like Night of the Demons, which if I had thought, I could have brought that one up tonight. But, there's always room to have a second one. But anyway, I have a handmade Ouija board with a handmade planchette. But I'm a little superstitious and do not want to play it by myself. But Steve will not use it with me. And he doesn't even like me doing my ghost hunting. I have a ghost hunting kit. I also have a spirit box, which is supposed to allow you to hear spirits through white noise. And I have heard things through it and recorded them and been able to play them back and increase the volume and all that stuff. So I am a believer. Steve, on the other hand, claims he's not a believer, but he says, "I'm not a believer, but Dana, I don't want you messing around with stuff and stirring something up." But I'm not interested in digging into devilish things or evil entities. Friendly ghosts, okay, that's fine. But I am not interested in messing around with anything demonic. And I would not want anybody to get involved with anything demonic with me. No, that is way, way out of the realm of what I want to experience. Let's see. Hey, Darren. Let me see what I missed here. I know you guys were chatting away in here. No, you say he died in prison last year. I thought it was pretty recent that he died. Dirk, you say, "Yeah, that's freaky, Dana." Yeah, I mean, it was freaky, but it was cool too. Maybe sometime I can bring up that picture and show it to you guys on one of these streams. I'll have to hunt it up first and let y'all see it. But the second time I went to Waverly Hills, I went with my neighbors, and we did a half the night actual investigation where they would take you to each part of Waverly Hills, and they'd let you spend so much time in there doing your own investigation. Then the guide would come find you and move you to a different location, and then you could investigate there. And we got to hear somebody I didn't have my own spirit box at that time, or I would have used it, but we got to hear somebody actually using a spirit box and heard this angry sounding gentleman who they kept telling him that wasn't nice, that he shouldn't say that stuff, but we could hear it clearly. And I think it may be on some of my recordings that I was doing because they were in another room than where me and my neighbors were at. And actually, one of my neighbors got she got physically sick and had to leave Waverly Hills and go sit out in the car and wait for me and her husband to finish the investigation. She was so terribly upset. And I was too, because I had gotten the tickets for us to do this primarily for her birthday and my birthday, because our birthdays are like 3 days apart in June. Mine is the 6th, hers is the 9th. And I have never seen anybody get physically ill before in a haunted place. But she did. I mean, she was gagging and everything else, and the guide was telling the spirits to leave her alone. And she was okay for a little bit. They took her out on the roof so she could get some fresh air and stuff, the guide did. And so we met her up there, and I was like, "How you feeling, Kim?" And she was like, "Well, I'm feeling a little better." But the minute we went back into the building and started walking around, she got all sick again and nervous, and so she didn't even get to go in the death tunnel with me and Troy, her husband. Me and Troy got to go in the death tunnel, and I didn't see anything this time, even in my pictures, as far as in Waverly Hills. But when we went in the death tunnel, and Troy saw this too, we went all the way down to the bottom, and then we turned around and walked back. When we got ready to come back, we were about halfway back up the death tunnel, and I saw a figure in a long black dress that just seemed to be hovering like a few feet from us. And I was like, "Troy," I was videotaping this with my cell phone. I was like, "Troy," I said, "come here a second." I said, "Do you see that?" And he was like, "Whoa, yeah, I see that." And we were trying to talk to this entity, and she kept floating backwards as we came forward. And then when we almost got to the beginning of the death tunnel, she just disappeared. But it was that and the picture I had. Both were creepy, but they were some of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. And I have one more ghostly story to tell you guys, and then I'll move on. But when I was living at home with my parents, it was always told that the land that my papa owned, my dad's dad, used to either be a Civil War burial ground or an Indian burial ground. And we all know about Indian burial grounds. But anyway, so that makes sense, especially different things that happen over the years. 2 houses had burned within, I mean, it'd been a bunch of years. When my dad was a kid, their house burned down. And Papa had another one built, or built one, I can't remember which. And that house was there for years and years and years. I visited my grand and Papa there for many, many years. Thanksgiving, Christmas, or Christmas Eve rather, and Thanksgiving and all of that. And we had many, many family get-togethers over the years. And then after my Papa passed away, of course, my gran, like, she couldn't physically or financially really keep up the farm, and so she sold it off, and someone else moved into the house, and they fixed up the cabinets and things like that. And then it wasn't long after that house burned down. So there were 2 houses that burned down on that spot. But then the other side of this story is, and some of you guys may be thinking, she's full of shit. but this stuff really did happen. So I was asleep one night, and um, I clearly heard a woman's voice say, Dana. I thought it was my mom because, when you're half asleep, you think, okay, did I just hear what I thought I heard, and who was that? And I sat straight up in my bed and I said, Mom. And I even walked through the house. Boy, I was brave to actually walk through the house. I didn't see anything, but Mom was sound asleep. Her and Dad hadn't even come out of their bedroom since they had went to sleep. And so I'm like, who in the hell was that said my name? Who was this woman that said my name? So I've had, a few experiences over the years. So that pretty much makes me a believer. Dougie say, I've definitely seen things in haunted places here in Shreveport, New Orleans. Yes, I mean, that place is supposed to be really, really haunted. Darren, you say, I've been getting into all things paranormal recently. There's a great channel on here called Paranormal Scholar, which is excellent. I'm going to have to check that out. She regularly uses a Ouija board. It looks like Wesley Vance is in here. No, you say The Haunted Palace with Vincent Price is a great possession film. I like Vincent Price films a lot, but I believe that's probably one I haven't seen. Darky say, I wouldn't trust any ghost and demon. uh, yeah, well, Wes, I know that Sarah doesn't want to mess with those things. But I actually have, when I was 13 years old for my birthday, I wanted one of the Parker Brothers Ouija boards. And my mom and dad got me one. I don't know what happened to it. It's probably still at my parents' house. But Steve decided he didn't want me to get it. And I'm like, but Steve, it's my Ouija board. Why can't I bring it? I don't want it in here. So it's a wonder he lets me have that handmade one. And I also have a Stranger Things Parker Brothers Ouija board as well. And I really haven't used either one of them because, like I said, I can't find anybody, I guess, that's brave enough to use it with me. Texas, you say demonic toys. Yeah, you could include that in there. Darren, you say, I've used a Ouija board and trust me, it's real. I only ever did it once and it freaked the hell out of me. Yeah, I used my Parker Brothers when I was a kid quite a bit. And I had a friend come and spend the night with me. And I think also me and my cousin Heather, who Wes has met Heather, he knows her. I think we used it too. But my friend that came over to spend the night, she became terrified we were playing it, or using it rather. And we asked what color the ghost eyes were, and it said red. And she threw my board across the room, and she's like, oh, it's the devil, Now, it could have been spirits just playing around with us. I don't know. I don't really think that I know that stuff's out there and you got to be careful and you don't want to open doors that you can't shut and let something like that into our world. But on the other hand, it could have been like a spirit just messing with us. You know what I mean? Like, haha, just for shits and giggles, we're going to play around with these girls. But yes, they can definitely freak you out, Darren. Texas, you say you got to leave that stuff to chip coffee. Darren, you say it's rare, but demonic possession is a thing. Some people link it to mental illness, but I'm not so sure. Right. Yeah. I think, like I've said this before, when you looked at people like Charles Manson or Richard Ramirez, or somebody like that, you look in the eyes, and it's just like Donald Pleasant said about Michael Myers in Halloween, um, the devil's eyes. Uh, and that's exactly what I see when I look at people like that. These mass murders and stuff. Nobody's home, you know. And those eyes are, like Donald Pleasant said, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And again, that's what I see when I look at people like that. That, to me, is true evil. Noah, you say, Dana, I would highly recommend the book Investigating Ghosts, a scientific search for spirits by Benjamin Radford. I'll have to check that one out, Noah. Thanks for the suggestion. Hey, John. Yeah, I was telling a few scary stories, and other people were sharing some scary stories. Dirk, you say, my older or oldest brother has schizophrenia, and I've wondered if it's something else he's done and said some wild shit. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not possible, um, because there's a lot of things I don't totally understand. John, you say, have you seen the Annabelle movies? They're okay. A few small jump scares, not as shitty as you may think. I think I've seen maybe one of them all the way through, John, and I didn't think it was too bad. Darren, you say, I've had unexplained incidents straight after my girlfriend of 10 years and mother of my son suddenly passed away at age 32 back in 2004. And I think that situations like that, Darren, when that happens to a person, I mean, I feel like, my granny passed away in a nursing home after, a little while. It wasn't a long while, but it was a little while. And I sometimes feel like she's watching over me. She's watching over my mom. And, like mom and I were talking probably a couple of weeks ago, and my mom said there were some unexplained things that were going on at the house. And remember, I told you that somewhere on all, somewhere on the property that Papa owned all of, and now my dad has a little piece of it. Not the part where the house burned, thankfully, but as I said, I was always told that there was either a Civil War burial ground or an Indian burial ground there at one time, and probably was still there. So, what mom was telling me kind of ties in with that, but also based on what mom told me happened, like she said that the TV started coming on by itself, and it was on old sitcoms, old television shows. And it had done it multiple times in like the past week before she talked to me. Um, and I think there was, flickering lights, different things like that. So I told mom, I said, well, maybe Granny is watching out for you and trying to let you know that she's there, that and I think it's a comfort thing for people. So, Darren, I totally get that. I even have felt like my granny's spirit is around Steve and I's house as well. Uh, no, Darren, you do not sound crazy at all to me. I would imagine some people think I'm crazy. Some of the stuff that I'm describing to you guys right now. Um, yeah, everybody does need to have an open mind about this stuff, and all of this supernatural stuff is not necessarily evil. There is some good supernatural stuff. You have good and bad in everything. And just like I was saying before, just don't open doors to the darkness that you can't close. I mean, it's okay to feel that your loved ones who have passed on are still watching over you. They're still providing you comfort and stuff like that. And if other people don't believe, then that's their deal, you know. But I definitely don't think that makes you crazy. Hey, Craig. I'm Mrs. Dana. You like the movie The Gate? Yeah, that is one I probably could have covered tonight, and again, just didn't. It didn't occur to me until you said that. Darren, you said we did it, and the glass we used shot across the board and smashed against the wall. I swear we were hardly touching it. It was weird, and we can't explain it to this day. Yeah, there's a lot of things, just like this stuff that I just brought up to you, that I cannot explain. There is no logical reason why these things would happen. So it has to be some kind of supernatural entity at work. Dougie said, I've been to Marie Laveau's house in New Orleans, and there's a shrine where you can leave a personal item. I said, hell with that. People leave booze, money, pictures, and all kinds of shit. Actually, in Waverly Hills, there is a... back when Waverly Hills was an active tuberculosis hospital, there were two sisters that had TB, and I believe they shared a room, or they had rooms next to each other. And one of the sisters, I believe, got well. The other got worse and ended up passing away. And they have I don't guess I would really call it a shrine, but in the room where she was, they have a picture of her, and people have left little gifts there around the picture. There's like these shelves, and people have left different things over time, flowers, etc., for her. Craigie said Michael Myers sat in a chair and stared at the wall for 20 years straight. That's what Donald Pleasant said. Wow. Yes, John. In my eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 does count as a possession movie. I have it in my stack over there. John, you say that dancing is cringy but memorable with Mark Patton. Exactly. But, you know, it makes more sense now that we know that Mark Patton is a gay actor. I mean, whether he was cognizant of it at that time, that there's no denying that seems like something a gay man might do. I couldn't envision a straight man doing that. I'm not making fun of gay guys. I have friends that are homosexuals, and I have nothing but good things to say about those people. Craig, you say, I went to sleep one time watching Damien Omen, The Omen. I have the worst nightmare ever, the part where they're chanting. Oh, yes. That Demi Boo. I'm going to freak you out, Craig. Derek, you say, yeah, Darren, similar situation. I lost an old lady as well, and people think I'm crazy when I've told them I felt a coat hand on my back while I was in the shower a day after her death. Well, I definitely don't think you're crazy, Dirk. I mean, I'm sure people think that I'm crazy, the stuff that I have said over time. Darren, you say, Dirk, I had this aura with me for 2 weeks after her passing. I was calm like I've never been before. It was like she was with me, and the day of the funeral it went. Darky said, I wasn't going to leave nothing to the voodoo queen of New Orleans. Um, I don't know how much longer this thunder's going to go on. But you guys, like, keep chatting in there because this is a really, really poignant, but it's a cool conversation, too, that we're having. But the reason why I feel like the Amityville Horror, it could be considered a possession film, why the original Amityville Horror could be a possession film, is because I literally feel like over time within the movie, George Lutz's character, played expertly, in my opinion, by Josh Brolin, is slowly taken over by an evil entity, and he actually begins to look and act like Ronnie DeFeo, or the character that is based on Ronnie DeFeo. So even when Margot Kidder is like looking at old newspaper clippings on a microfilm reader, when she sees Ronnie DeFeo, which I can't remember what they call the family in there, or even if they name them, but it's clearly supposed to be the DeFeo family. But when she gets to a newspaper clipping that has a picture of Ronnie DeFeo, it's George. I mean, and like she freaks out. There are other scenes where George looks at Kathy and he sees some kind of monster, and he's going to take an axe to her because he's been chopping so much damn wood the entire movie, because he's always cold. It's always cold in the house. There are also scenes where George and Kathy get into an argument and he hits her in the face and makes her nose bloody. It's like, his personality totally changes the longer they're in the house. He started out as a pretty nice guy, and over time in the house, his personality degrades into something sadistic and mean. Another scene that really stands out is when they have when George's business partner brings his woman friend over, and they find the red room, and she literally becomes possessed by someone, and she's holding her head and screaming and everything. That whole scene is very disturbing to me as well. And she's saying, cover it up, and they have to get her away because she's obviously in the throes of some kind of possession. Something is overtaking her, and she's saying something about the passageway to hell, but she's not talking in her voice, she's talking in someone else's voice. Dirk, you say, yeah, no doubt Amityville is definitely a possession film. Speaking of Margot Kidder, would you consider Sisters a possession film? In some ways, yes. That was another one that I almost pulled out and added it to my list. Darren, you say Amityville Horror, when it came out, it was highly regarded. People seem to not like it now. Personally, I love the original. Creeped the hell out of me, especially the music. Yeah. Just like I was talking about, the music, and it's showing the house, and the house looks like it has eyes for windows. It seems like the house has some personality of its own. John, you say Amityville original is scary. That Get Out scene freaked me out as a kid. Oh yes, the flies in the room and the priest, and it just all of a sudden you hear "Get out," and he's getting the hell out of Dodge. He's not gonna stay there anymore. I don't know how many of you have seen Eddie Murphy's Delirious from back in the 80s, his stand-up comedy routine. But there's one part in that, well, there's several parts that make me laugh, but he's talking about you wouldn't catch any black guy or a black family staying in the house in Amityville like the white people did. Um, he basically said if a black family went into this house, or a black guy went into this house, and he said, "Oh, this house is beautiful, honey," and then he said, "Get out." But we gotta leave, He said we weren't gonna be stupid like these white people. So, um, Johnny's saying James Brolin makes a good crazy possessed man with that beard. Oh, definitely. Like I said, James Brolin is expertly cast in this movie. And even though Margot Kidder thought the movie was a piece of shit, I think she was expertly cast as well. I agree, Darren, that Delirious and Raw are Eddie Murphy at his best. I prefer Delirious to Raw. I've seen Raw, and I enjoy it, but Delirious just, like, I laugh like a loon at that. So, anyway, this version of it that I have, I didn't want to talk too much longer about just Amityville Horror, but we've had one hell of an excellent discussion, I think, on all different things, kind of stemming from us talking about this movie. But there's not really any special features to speak of on this release. This is the MGM release. I mean, you get 1080 HD resolution, which looks awesome. And you get lossless audio, which is great too. But I do have a box set that I think has, like, it might have something like Amityville Confidential on it or something. Let me just grab that real quick. Steve tried to tell me not to buy this one because he said that a lot of people said the quality on this wasn't good. But this is the Scream Factory Amityville Horror Trilogy. And maybe this doesn't. Yeah, maybe doesn't. But it does have the 3D version of Amityville 3D. But there are some special features on here, yeah. So if you get this set, the special features for Amityville Horror, it's just pouring now rain here now, guys. I think it's there could be some flooding tonight, but anyway. You get audio commentary by Dr. Hans Holzer, PhD in parapsychology. For God's Sake, Get Out documentary with stars James Brolin and Margot Kidder. A theatrical trailer and radio spots. Now, I know I'm not going to talk about Amityville 2, The Possession, but the special features on it, you get an interview with director Damiani. What a name for somebody to have to direct this. New interviews with actors Andrew Prine, Diane Franklin, and Britannia Alda. Audio commentary with author Alexandra Holzer, Growing Up Haunted, a ghostly memoir, and a theatrical trailer. Amityville 3D has both the 2D and Blu-ray 3D versions on the same disc and a theatrical trailer. So I think this is a pretty cool set, and I don't really see anything wrong with the transfer. And I got it for a pretty decent price. I think the prices went up and down several times over the time that it's been out. But I would definitely, especially if you like the first 3 movies in this series, this would definitely be the way to go, I think. But I just wanted to bring that up because there's really no special features on this single Blu-ray I have. Darren, you say the UK Steelbook has commentary and different featurettes and interviews, etc. I'd like to get my hands on that if I could, if it wasn't, too awfully expensive. But anyway, I'm going to, like I said, you guys feel free to keep chatting in there. But I'm going to move on to the next film. And this is one that I did not see that any of you guys brought up. And you may think I'm totally off base with including this one in my possession films. But it's Candyman, the original Candyman with Tony Todd, with the tagline, "We dare you to say his name 5 times." Now, the reason why I have that in this group is because it does seem like Helen, Virginia Madsen's character, does become, in a way, possessed by Candyman throughout the film, because she has no recollection of murdering people, and it's not really her, it's Candyman. But when she comes back to herself, she's in pools of blood. There's blood on her clothes, blood on her face. At times there may have been a scene where she even had his hook. And so I definitely feel like Candyman was taking control of her. Similar to Nightmare on Elm Street 2, when Freddy is taking control of Jesse. Darren, you say, since the case was pretty much debunked, people don't mention it much, which is a shame. I agree. I definitely agree with that. Dirk, you say, yeah, with Helen for sure. John, you say, true crime is the real scary shit, in my opinion. Yes, sir. Darren, you say, I've never thought of it like that, but yeah, it could qualify for sure. Dirk, you say, it's also like Dracula and Phantom of the Opera with the romance type vibes. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you're definitely right on that. John, you say, imagining killers among us, that's what makes me sleep with a lamp on sometimes, huh? Oh, well, I'll tell you, there have been things over the years that have given me pause and made me want to turn every light in the house on. And I think most people have gone through that, if not all. It's just some people don't want to admit to it because I don't know if they think it's childish or whatever, or don't want people to think they're childish. But I don't think it's childish. I think that these are fears that we carry with us no matter what our age is. Fears of the unknown, fears of supernatural elements that we don't completely understand and probably will never be able to understand. But the Candyman story is not only a possession story, but it's an urban legend type of story as well, which I completely love those types of movies and stories as well. And I am actually, Steve says I should save my money and wait till it goes way down in price before I get the Candyman 4K, but I'm like, I want to get it. So I'm probably going to be getting it soon, possibly whenever I get paid again. Dougie say, have you seen that Jallo John, the killer is still among us? I'm wondering if that's one Steve watched, because that sounds very familiar. So I think most of you guys in here, if not all, know the Candyman story, so I'm not really going to retread over that. But I did want to see what you guys thought as far as the possession element. And it seems like, most of us are on the same page with Candyman, which even if we weren't, it would still be okay. But this is a collector's edition from Screen Factory. You can see there. There's the original artwork actually on one of the discs. And actually, you can see the original artwork there. It's kind of hard to see because of my green screen. But you do get the unrated cut and the theatrical cut. I would highly recommend watching the unrated cut, especially if you want to make sure you get the full extent of the film. Um, so before I move on, because like I said, I'm really only going to focus on why I think these are considered possession films instead of giving you a full on breakdown of the movie, because really what we're talking about is possession films. So I figure it's best to explain why I think they're possession films and then get your comments and stuff like that. And that way we won't be here all night talking about these movies I've got here. I could always do a complete review on them at some other time, um, and focus more on the possession elements tonight. Uh, but I did want to talk about the special features because this Blu ray is chock full of them. Let's see. Dirk, you say Arrow has their sale going again. Oh boy, Dirk, you had to tell me that, didn't you? Um, Darren, you say, I know Steve watches a lot of UFO stuff. I've never asked him, but does he believe in it? Well, Darren, I asked him that very thing one night because, since we've been dating, I noticed that Steve does watch oodles of UFO stuff. And I did ask him one time, and he basically said, who knows? He said there might be. But I have these, I guess, theological, I guess, would be the best way, arguments. And I just feel like it's a healthy argument. Because Steve, and I don't think I'm telling anything that Steve would not, or that Steve would care for me telling. Steve is very adamant that he doesn't believe in an otherworldly being, a God that created this planet, is watching over us, that will pull us up into the heavens when we die, and that there's going to be a new, I don't know if you'd call it a new earth or what, but this earth is going to be destroyed, and then people will be temporarily, I guess, in heaven, wherever heaven is. And then growing up, I was able to glean different things, from the beliefs of my parents and stuff like that. And the beliefs of my family as a whole. And so I believe there is an omnipresent, otherworldly being that did create the planet, because I don't understand how our planet could have been created if there isn't some kind of supernatural being at work. Steve also believes that when you die, it's over, you're dead, you're worm food in the ground. I'm sorry for being so blatant, but so I asked him, I said, well, if you could consider that there are otherworldly, like alien beings, why can't you accept the fact that there could be a supernatural God that has created everything around us? And created life and all that, and he's having none of it. So I guess the ultimate answer to that question, Darren, is he may or may not, but he's not, I guess he's not real open with me because he knows I'm going to go on and on about stuff, and ask him, well, like, how do you know there's not this or that? And a lot of times he's just tired and he just doesn't want to fool with me. You say you've never asked him, but does he believe in it? There's too much evidence out there for it to be untrue. And the U.S. government even admitted it not long ago. Exactly. No, that is perfectly fine, Darren. I am glad that you guys kind of throw things out there. It gives us something else to talk about. John, you say, I saw an interview where Kurt Russell was the only certified pilot on record to observe and record a UFO. He talked about it on a Jimmy Kimmel clip. Ooh, that's cool. I'd like to see. Maybe that Jimmy Kimmel clip is on YouTube. John, you say he didn't know it until years later he saw a doc on UFOs and was like, wait, certified pilot that year. That's me. And he had it logged, LOL. Darren, you say these otherworldly beings are watching us destroy the earth. Exactly. And that's exactly what we're doing. And light went off again, but I may get up and change it out again here in a little bit, but not right this second. But yeah, and I even, in my discussions or my healthy debates with Steve, I even said, well, maybe God's an alien. You know, maybe that's what God is. So, yeah, I totally get that. And so, y'all keep chatting in there. I'm going to go over these special features really quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next film. So this one has the theatrical cut and has a new 2K restoration from a new 4K scan of the original negative, supervised and approved by writer and director Bernard Rose and director of photography Anthony B. Richmond. New audio commentary with Bernard Rose and actor Tony Todd. New audio commentary with authors Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. I just absolutely, and I know Darren really knows who Kim Newman is. I absolutely love Kim Newman. He seems to really know what he's talking about when he talks about movies and stuff like that. Guys, this got really fuzzy, so I think I am going to change it out again. Hopefully I won't have to keep switching these out. Hold on just one second. Oh, dang, Darren. I am sorry, buddy. I missed your birthday. So you're 51 today, and Kim Newman wished you a happy birthday. Well, happy birthday, Darren, and I'm sorry that I wasn't paying enough attention to realize it was your birthday. Shame on me. But I do think that's awesome that Kim Newman wished you a happy birthday. Let's see. Oh, tomorrow for me. So I didn't miss it. Awesome. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that time differential. So I'll tell you happy birthday now, Darren, just in case I do forget again, because I'm flighty as hell anymore. So, and I hope that you've had a great birthday and continue to have a great birthday. Anyway, you're welcome. Darren, you say you think Roswell happened for sure. I believe they captured a live alien and 2 dead and the craft. Again, I sound crazy, but I've done research. No. I've seen all that same stuff as well, and I definitely believe it. I'm going to go through these special features again real quick. Y'all keep chatting. But like I said, there's new audio commentary with authors Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. Audio commentary with Bernard Rose, author Clive Barker, producer Alan Powell, and actors Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen, and Cassie Lemons. Sweets to the Sweet, the Candyman Mythos. Clive Barker, Raising Hell. Bernard Rose's storyboards, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and a still gallery. This too is the unrated cut. You get a new 2K restoration from a new 4K scan, the original negative, with unrated HD inserts from a rare print. New Be My Victim, an interview with Tony Todd. New It Was Always You, Helen, an interview with Virginia Madsen. New The Writing on the Wall, the production design of Candyman, an interview with production designer Jane Ann Stewart. New Forbidden Flesh, the makeup effects of Candyman, including interviews with special makeup effects artist Bob King, Gary J. Tunnicliffe, and Mark Coulier. New A Story to Tell, Clive Barker's The Forbidden. Writer Douglas C. Winter on Clive Barker's seminal Books of Blood and Candyman's source story, The Forbidden. New Urban Legend, Unwrapping Candyman, and more. And there is Candyman. Oh, yes, it definitely is loaded, and I'm hoping, I need to look at it closer. I'm hoping that the 4K is also loaded. Okay, so the next one is The Conjuring. This was a movie that came out at a time when I personally felt that the horror genre was a little dead in the water. And this kind of, you know how people said Scream when it came out in 96, it kind of revived the horror genre. Well, I think The Conjuring did the same thing, just a different way. And I really like, probably even if I get a 4K of this, I won't get rid of this because of this cool, see this cool ass cover here? It's like, that is so cool. And creepy though, with the clapping hands behind her. But Steve really enjoyed The Conjuring. We actually went to see The Conjuring at the movies when it came out. And Steve was only slightly aggravated that there was this little boy. Well, he probably wasn't little, but he was probably about 11. I don't know why his mother thought it was a good idea to bring him to this movie, because the kid talked almost the whole movie asking questions about it. And The Conjuring is not a movie that anybody can really explain to an 11-year-old kid. You just have to be old enough to be able to accept it as it is and watch it for what it is. So Steve was sitting by this kid originally, and I could see Steve getting irritated, and I think he wanted to tell this kid to shut the hell up. So I just changed seats with Steve, and the kid, eventually he did calm down and become quiet. So, oh, the arrow one is Darren. Okay, gotcha. I think the one I've got is pretty loaded, but maybe I need to look into getting that arrow one as well. Yes, Darren, The Conjuring 2 is based on a well-known poltergeist case in Enfield, North London. Steve and I watched The Enfield Haunting. I thought it was awesome. I thought that documentary was really, really good. Yes, it will definitely freak you out. It will freak you out. But Steve really liked The Conjuring, but then I think things kind of soured for him about the time The Conjuring 2 came out, because he got a bee in his bonnet about the Warrens. And I was like, what does it matter about the Warrens or not, whether the Warrens were there or weren't there or whatever. It's easy to talk bad about the Warrens when both of them have since passed away. So, people are going to say what they're going to say. And it's funny to me that after somebody's dead and cannot take up for themselves, then somebody basically shits all over them. It's happened to a lot of people. And so Steve said that the movies are good, but they keep saying these are based on the true case files of the Warrens. And Steve said that they were not asked to come to Enfield in North London to help out in any way with that case. He said that they basically just showed up. They weren't invited. They weren't asked to come and help. But the Conjuring 2 made it out like they did. Kind of the same thing happened with the Conjuring movie. After it came out, I think the kids who are now grown up that were part of this family that was portrayed in the movie came out and said that, they didn't, that basically their parents didn't want the Warrens there, that something about they didn't invite them there. The same thing's been said about the Amityville Horror House. So it's like, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to sit there and try to debunk these cases now that the Warrens are both gone? I mean, I think that's pretty shitty. If you were going to say something, why didn't you say something when they were still alive? I mean, it wasn't like they were going to come and do anything to you. Yeah, and that's okay that anybody says that they only went there for a day in the Enfield case, but to like Steve, I thought, he tells me I go way overboard over things, but I said, you're kind of going way overboard of your dislike of the Warrens, and it's making you get soured on this second film just because you've heard all this shit about how they were only there for a day and all that stuff. What does it matter? This is a Hollywood movie, and it's entertaining, and if you want to read about the Warrens more, you can get on the internet and read loads of stuff. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. But just watch the films for entertainment purposes. Don't get all bent out of shape because the Warrens were portrayed as being at a location longer than they actually were. Who knows? That could be Hollywood doing that, and not anything that the Warrens said or Lorraine Warren said. And I think the people that they had play Ed and Lorraine Warren are perfect for this. I mean, it's just Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are excellent in these Conjuring movies. Um, they they really they really pull off the sensibilities and stuff of the Warrens, I think. Because I've seen old documentaries with Ed and Lorraine Warren. I saw where they were on talk shows a long time ago. And I think that the Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga really, it seems almost like they studied the Warrens and were able to pull this off and make a believable movie. So honestly, I have nothing bad to say about The Conjuring or The Conjuring 2. I love both of those films. The Nun, I didn't like it like I did the Conjuring movies. I just feel like the Nun kind of slid off the map a little bit. In my opinion, it went a little awry. But the Conjuring 2, I think, are awesome. And yes, John, 1 is the best. John, you say, I enjoy the Conjuring movies. All are really fun. John, you say, although Insidious is my preference, it's just a crazy-ass ride. It definitely is. So, Again, I'm not going to go deep into the plot of The Conjuring, but it does have nuances of possession in it. For instance, I almost said Lily Tomlin. Lily Taylor, who plays the mom in the movie, literally does become possessed at one point in time in the movie. And that is some of the most creepy stuff. I mean, you had subtle stuff that was creepy throughout the film. But then when it gets to that all-out possession, things just kick into overdrive when that happens. And basically, she's tied to that chair, and the chair's flipping upside down, spinning around, all that stuff. And I'm like, wow. And this was another movie that, like, I took to my parents' house when I was visiting them, and I spent the night. It was one of the few times where I spent the night with them, and Steve stayed at home. I mean, he took me to my parents' house, and then he came back to our house, and then he came and picked me up, like the next day or whatever. Oh, excuse me. But I actually took this to my parents' house once, and me and my mom were watching it at night, and we were really enjoying it, even though it was night and it was extra creepy. But my dad came home. I think this was when he was working late nights before he retired. And he came in and he saw this, and it was at the possession scene. And my dad was like, I'm not going to watch that. Because as I've said before, my dad can't even watch The Exorcist anymore. These possession films really freak him out. And Darren, you say, prefer The Conjuring to Insidious. I would have to say I do too, but I find I find Insidious a fun movie too. Yeah, it does kind of have a poltergeist feel. But if you have not seen The Conjuring or The Conjuring 2, I highly recommend them, especially this one. The special features on this, you get The Conjuring face to face with terror, relive the real life horror as the Perrin family comes together to reflect back on the farmhouse they shared with diabolical spirits for nearly a decade. A life in demonology, the real demonologists and paranormal experts from The Conjuring take you inside their life's work and into their personal occult cellar, where they keep haunted and unholy relics from their many cases. Scaring the shit out of you, director James Wan saw in Insidious welcomes you into his world and gives an inside look at the secrets that scare the shit out of moviegoers time and time again. Dirk, you say you prefer The Conjuring as well. And so there is The Conjuring. If by some chance you have not seen it, I highly, highly recommend this one. And again, look at that. Look at that creepy cool cover. Okay. So, moving right along. And guys, I'll be honest with you. I really wanted to do this tonight, but I'm having one of those. Ever since I had COVID, I have this from time to time where my head just feels so full and congested, clogged up, and it kind of makes me feel dizzy. And so as I'm looking down at the covers and reading stuff off of here, it just gives me a swimmy feeling. So I literally am going to try to get through as many movies as I can. But if I don't get through them all, trust me, I will do another live stream and cover the rest of them in this stack, just so that you guys don't miss out on it. Hey, James, you say you will like to watch it. I highly recommend it. So, we're going to talk real quickly about Demons 1 and 2. This is the 4K Ultra HD from Synapse Films. Steve got the, was it Arrow that came out? Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Darren, but wasn't it Arrow that came out with the 4K set, and then Synapse came out with it? So we actually have both sets. John, you said The Conjuring is definitely more classical horror. Insidious is like, I don't know, it's a carnival ride. Yeah, yeah, that is definitely a good way to describe both of those films. So, Demons 1, I mean, I don't really think I have to explain to you guys why both Demons 1 and Demons 2 are possession films. Because in Demons 1, you have people getting a free pass to go see a movie. And when they go there, it is soon discovered that they were lured there to set loose this ancient evil that ends up turning most of the theater goers into drooling, slimy demons. I love this movie. I can't praise it enough. I actually like the first Demons better than I do Demons 2, but Demons 2 is still fun. Demons 2 is the longer of the two movies at 91 minutes. Demons 2 takes place around a girl's birthday party, which is why around my birthday I always try to watch Demons 2. But the first Demons is definitely my favorite. It pretty much has a kick-ass heavy metal soundtrack. So, I mean, what's not to like about it? I mean, you have great demons, you have great characterizations, you have great atmosphere, you have a great soundtrack. I really can't think of any weaknesses in the movie. So, again, I don't really think I need to explain this one, why this one is considered a possession film. If any of you guys in here don't think it's a possession film, feel free to put in the chat why you don't feel it's a possession film. I'm going to go over special features real quick with this. This is a limited edition 2 disc 4K UHD. So you get new 4K restoration of both Demons and Demons 2 from the original 35mm camera negative. 4K UHD Blu-ray presentations of both films in Dolby Vision, HDR10 compatible, limited edition packaging featuring new artwork by Juan Jose Saldaraja and Chris McGibbon. Reproduction of the original movie ticket from Demons, which I can show you that. Hold on here. It says today, 6 p.m. Metropole, 29 Interflug Street, I think it says. You get a Synapse Films product catalog. You get Sally Day's birthday party invitation. Probably can't see that very good. There we go. That's a little bit better. And you also get this cool mini poster here of the mass there above the Metropole Theater. Yes, Darren, the 80s soundtracks are banging. They are definitely banging. This is a movie that you would, as they say about Driller Killer, you would want to play loud. This movie is meant to be played loud. I was looking here to see if it had Dolby Atmos, and I'm not seeing Dolby Atmos, but Maybe at some point we'll get Dolby Atmos. Let's see. But you do get that original movie ticket, or reproduction of the original movie ticket from Demons, a special Demons 2 birthday party invitation, fold-out poster of Demons artwork by Wes Ben Scotter, and it is 4K UHD all-region playback. Disc 1 has 2 versions of the film, the full-length original cut in English and Italian, and a shorter U.S. version featuring alternate dubbing and sound effects. Uncompressed DTS HD Master English and Italian 5.1 and 2.0 audio mixes on the original cut derived from the archival audio masters. New audio commentary by critics Kat Ellinger and Heather Drain, co-host of the Hells Bells podcast. Audio commentary by director Lamberto Bava, special effects artist Sergio Stivaletti, composer Claudio Simonetti, and actress Greta. Steve actually has a bobblehead of Greta. I think I got it for him. Produced by Dario Argento, a new visual essay by author and critic Michael McKenzie, exploring the legendary filmmaker's career as a producer. Dario's Demon Days, interview with writer and producer Dario Argento. Defining an era in music, interview with Claudio Simonetti. Splatter Spaghetti Style, interview with longtime Argento collaborator Luigi Cozzi. Carnage at the Cinema, Lamberto Bava and his splatter masterpiece. Dario and the Demons, producing Monster Mayhem, Monstrous Memories, Luigi Cozzi on Demons. Profondo Jones, The Critical Perspective, Splatter Stunt Rock, interview with Ottaviano Dell'Acqua. Stivaletti Q&A at the 2019 UK Festival of Fantastic Films. Original Italian and English international theatrical trailers. U.S. theatrical trailer, newly translated optional English subtitles, and newly translated English subtitles for the Italian version. Disc 2 is Demons 2. You get uncompressed DTS HD Master English 5.1 and Italian 5.1 and 2.0 audio mixes, derived from the original archival audio masters. A new audio commentary by film critic Travis Crawford, Bava to Bava interview with Luigi Cozzi on the history of Italian horror, Creating Creature Carnage interview with Sergio Stivaletti, Demonic Influences, Federico Zampaglione speaks, The Demons Generation, Roy Bava discusses A Legacy and Lacerations, The New Blood of Italian Horror featuring Sergio Stivaletti, screaming for a sequel, The Delirious Legacy of Demons 2 with Lamberto Bava, a soundtrack for Splatter interview with composer Simon Boswell, Together and Apart, a new visual essay on the use of space and technology in Demons and Demons 2 by author and critic Alexandra Heller Nicholas, original Italian and English theatrical trailers, newly translated optional English SDH subtitles for the English version, and newly translated English subtitles for the Italian version. And that is Demons and Demons 2. Okay. Let's see. John, you say James Wan is a damn good filmmaker, though. He's not 10 out of 10 always, but I trust his movies to not suck. Yes, I agree, John. Darren, you say, Demons, my first ever Italian film I watched. Yeah, Steve got the Arrow set like me. Okay. John, you say, I haven't seen Demons since VHS days. Is the 4K really good? CK put it over a lot. I feel like, I like both versions. I like the Arrow version and the Synapse version. But I do believe the sound, personally, or in my opinion, is better on the Synapse version. Darren may disagree with me on that since he got the Arrow version. Darren, you say, John, you need to rectify that. It's awesome. I got the Blu-ray set and it looks great. Darren, you said the 80s soundtracks are banging. Definitely. Menelect, you say 80s soundtracks are better. Yes, I agree with that as well. John, you say, I know, this aerosol is going to kill me. I got 200 in my cart now. Oh, gosh. I better not even go there and just hope that, like, they're still having the sale when I get paid again. John, you say, I may wait. Texas, you say, I bought the Synapse or whoever put it out. It's awesome. Darren, you say, I've got 6 Blu-rays to come before I even look at that aerosol. Johnny said, I may get the Synapse version. I love Don May's stuff. He definitely knows his stuff being around so long. I agree there. Now, here is the movie that a lot of people may consider the coup de grace of possession films. And that might just be because it is so well known. And that is The Exorcist. And this is actually the version I got a few years back. This is the, I'm not sure if this is like the 40th anniversary or what it is. I think that's what it is. But you also get this little booklet, book, and it's actually a hardcover book called The Friedkin Connection, a memoir. And it's got, lots of cool pictures in it, as well as information on William Friedkin. He's actually got an Exorcist shirt there. Yeah, you can see him applying makeup and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And then there's the actual Blu-ray. I'm eagerly still waiting for a 4K of The Exorcist, because if they made The Exorcist in 4K and put Dolby Atmos sound on there, that is going to be amazing. So I'm hoping and praying I'm going to get that at some point. So this does have the extended director's cut and the original theatrical version. I would highly recommend you watching the director's cut if you get a hold of like this box set here. I mean, you can always go back and watch the theatrical version. I mean, most of us have already seen that theatrical version. We've also seen the version you've never seen. That was from many moons ago, where I first saw the spider walk scene and things like that. Again, I don't think I need to go into deep detail why this is considered a possession film. I think most people have seen The Exorcist, and if you haven't, it's probably because you're just not interested in seeing it. But even people that haven't seen it pretty much have a good indication of what it's about. And there's like a big housefly in here now. First it was we keep going back and forth between these annoying houseflies and the fruit flies. And it keeps landing on my computer monitor. And I know it's the light that's drawing them. Probably after I turn off the light, they'll quit swarming around here like that. But I can't say enough good things about The Exorcist. Usually people either love it or they hate it. I don't consider this movie to be one that you can have a middle ground on. So I have always been in the camp that I love it. It was a real shocker for me the first time I watched it, because at that point in time, I had never seen anything like it. Of course, now we have all kinds of other movies. I had the Exorcism of Emily Rose, which Dirk brought up a little earlier in the stream, which I think takes things a little bit further than even The Exorcist did. But The Exorcist, I think where that creepiness factor comes in so well is the subtle parts of The Exorcist. When you get to the parts where she's vomiting up pea soup on the priest, and things are really going over the top, it's like you've already been creeped out already. This is just kind of like frosting on the cake. And, getting to show off Dick Smith's handiwork, which he did an excellent job with it, and the people that built like those refrigeration sets and all of that. I mean, we've seen the special effects stuff, but the more subtle aspects of it, which you especially see in the director's cut of, for instance, when Reagan's mother comes into the room at night, into her bedroom at night, and she shuts a door, you see a flash and you see the Pazuzu demon flash on there. When she comes back to the house at one point, the lights are flickering and you see little Pazuzu popping up different places. Those subtle aspects, even the help me that comes on the girl's stomach at one point, on Reagan's stomach, is subtle but creepy. And then, like I said, the other stuff, the head twisting around, the puking up the pea soup, the vulgar language, all of that is just that little frosting, that fringe of frosting on a cake. But I think I appreciate, I appreciate Dick Smith's handiwork a lot. And I think it was an important part of this movie. But over time, as I've gotten older, I appreciate those more subtle aspects of the movie. The ones that really give you a chill. And like I said, I mentioned a few of those. And I'm sure if you guys watch it again, you will find other subtle aspects that kind of give you a cold chill as well. John, I am shocked that no 4K is out yet either. I don't really understand that. I don't know, I figure it's not a rights thing because I figure Warner Brothers still owns the rights to it. I mean, I guess a holdout could be if Freakin' didn't want it out on 4K, but I really couldn't see Freakin' not wanting it to be released in 4K. But perhaps I'm wrong. John, you say with Exorcist, just go 1 to 3 and skip 2. Definitely. Even though Steve says he loves Pazuzu's Reagan, I remember when I watched The Exorcist, and I didn't know a lot about The Exorcist 2, and I was expecting it to be more of the same. Hey, it had Linda Blair returning, so how could you go wrong? That movie is so slow and boring that it puts me to sleep every time I try to watch it. But Steve thinks that Linda Blair is just ultimately sexy in it. He says Pazuzu's Reagan is hot. But to me, that doesn't make a great film, okay? Like, even if it had a hot guy in it, that would not make that movie a great film. So I definitely would agree with you, John, that just skip 2 and watch 1 and 3. Darren, you say Mark Kermode always says that The Exorcist is the best film ever made. People say, surely you mean best horror film. He says, no, it's the best film ever made. He really champions The Exorcist. And he has made some great featurettes or documentaries about The Exorcist as well. John, you say 3 is made by George C. Scott. He is such a good actor. He just makes anything so believable. I love George C. Scott as well. Darren, you say, I think he's right. It's possibly the best well-made film ever. I rate it that much. Yeah, this is not one that Steve ever wants to watch. I don't even know if he has his own copy of The Exorcist. More than likely, he's got The Exorcist 2. And maybe Exorcist 3. But I don't recall ever seeing him have an actual copy of The Exorcist. Ooh. Darren, you say John 3 is a great film, too. Um, Dirk, you say The Exorcist is the essential possession and greatest, scariest film ever made, in my opinion. I'm in that camp too, Dirk. I just can't find anything bad to say about this movie. It has been said about this movie that it will scare the hell out of you, and I literally, feel that it has that, and it's not has the ability to do that. And here's why I think that is. Because it deals with something that all of us have experienced at one point in time in our life, and that is the ultimate battle between good and evil. And I'm not talking about the little devil on one shoulder and the little angel on the other. I'm talking actually about God and the devil and the ultimate struggle that goes on all the time, and the ultimate struggle that we all have with our own conscience, which I feel like is God saying, you sure you want to do that? That might not be the right thing to do. I'm not saying we're evil people. I'm just saying we have, everybody, I think, has the potential to go into that dark realm and not return. And I'm not saying we're all could possibly become mass murderers or anything. I'm saying that sometimes it's easier and simpler to dabble in the darkness than it is to stay in the sunlight. So I think that The Exorcist talks about that ancient struggle that's been going on since before we knew anything about it, and will continue to go on most likely even after we're gone. So I think that is what makes this movie really work. I think that's why it hits so many buttons or nerves or whatever you want to call it, and why it has affected so many people over the years in a wide variety of ways. John, you say, yeah, it's definitely up there as the best ever. I would still give that one to Jaws personally, but it's all a high ranking list. Jaws is a masterful film as well. I agree with you there, John. Darren, you said The Exorcist is a really strong undercurrent of sexual abuse. Her father being the way he is, and why did Bert go to Reagan's room in the middle of the night and throw him from the window? Exactly. There are a lot of deep, dark, like you said, undercurrents going on in this movie. Dirk, you say, Exorcist stayed with me days later and is one of the two films that grabbed me and pulled me in the horror genre at 6 years old. Wow, that still blows my mind, Dirk, that you watched The Exorcist at 6 years old. I don't know. That would have completely blew my 6-year-old mind if I had done that. I watched it alone late at night in the dark. I was freaking out. I bet you were. Darren, you say, I love part 2. It's almost a comedy. Yeah, almost. Dirk, you say, yes, Darren. After analyzing Exorcist, there are many layers to it. John, you say, Linda Blair's career only went down, huh? I mean, she had good roles, but you can really only top that, but you can't really top that type of role or film. Yeah. Darren, you say, so here's a question. Who wins at the end, the devil or the good? Now, I believe, like Friedkin said, because does anybody remember the discussion during one of the documentaries that Blatty and Friedkin had? And Blatty was kind of upset the way that Friedkin chose to end The Exorcist. And Blatty says at one point, I don't want the audience to think that evil won. And Friedkin looks at him, he said, I don't know how they can think that by those ending scenes and the way they were shot. And so I think that way too, because there's a sense that even though Karras pretty much sacrificed himself, he sacrificed himself to save this girl. And at the end, when Reagan's looking at the other priest from the back of the car as it's driving away, and she's looking at him, and you get a sense that everything from the end of that movie, regardless of like the second one or anything, you can just forget about the second one. Regardless, at the end of that movie, you know everything in time is going to be okay with that little girl. And the priest knows it, and Reagan knows it. She knows she's going to be okay. And even the scene where before they leave, Reagan sees the priest's collar and maybe a cross, and she just spontaneously hugs and kisses him, as if to say, I know your friend, what your friend did for me, and everything's going to be okay. And it is like there is a light that is surrounding them. The darkness is gone at that point, in my opinion. And then you also have the additional scene of Lieutenant Kinderman talking to the other priest just like he did with Karras. And they're starting a budding friendship. And when he says, when Kinderman asks him if he's seen he's talking about a movie, would you like to go to the movies with me? Just like he had that conversation with Karras earlier in the film. Would you like to go see this movie? And the priest, just like Karras did, says who's in it, and Kinderman tells him, and he says, I've seen it, just like Karras did. And Kinderman looks at him and he says, another one. And then they link arms and walk away. So that too, in essence, makes me feel that everything's going to be okay. Evil did not win. It took everybody for a ride, but it did not win in the end. And I think that is the most important thing to take away from The Exorcist. Dirk, you say, I've heard the younger generation say The Exorcist is dark comedy. All I can say is just say no to drugs. Exactly. John, you say, LOL, a dark comedy? What the fuck? Kids are crazy. Yeah, I truly think they are anymore. Darren, you say, I think I was about 10 and that was bad enough. Yeah, see, I was older than both you and Dirk, Darren, so by the time I got to watch it. John, you say, I don't see how Ellen Burstyn is going to play a role in that new trilogy. She's so old. Exactly. John, you say, she's a great actress, but at a certain age, that's kind of a no-go. I know Eastwood still tries. Yeah. Durkee said, the devil won, in my opinion. He basically killed two priests, and that was his purpose all along, is how I've always seen it. Which I could see that view, too. Dirk, but I guess that is my, what I said a little bit earlier in response to what Darren asked. That is my optimism kicking in. Well, that light didn't stay on long at all, did it? Goodness. I'm sorry, guys, I keep calling. But, yeah, that, too, is a very valid response. And I love that we all seem to have different views on this. That is what makes that's what makes it worth me doing these streams, is that everybody has a different take on things. Nobody thinks exactly the same about stuff. Darren, you say, we did get the flying grasshopper in part 2. Dirk, you say, maybe Burston is in an old folks home in the new trilogy, a lot like 3, maybe. Darren, you said the remake is going to suck. I'm afraid it is too, Darren. I fear that that is what will happen. And Dirk, you say, I hope not, Darren. So let's talk about a few of the special features for The Exorcist that are on this set. So disc 1, you get the extended director's cut, while disc 2 is the original theatrical version. Disc 3, you get the special features. You get Beyond Comprehension, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist. 40 years after his novel was published, The Exorcist author, screenwriter, and producer returns to where it all began. Talk of the Devil, a never-before-seen documentary with Father Eugene Gallagher. While at Georgetown University, William Peter Blatty heard about a true case of possession from Father Eugene Gallagher. At the time the film came out, the priest talked at length about exorcism, the true story, and about Blatty. Which, all this stuff is just amazing. But, you know, you're probably thinking, gee, that doesn't seem like a lot of special features. Well, I've also kept some of my other versions of The Exorcist so that I don't lose those special features. But again, there is The Exorcist. This is, I think, the 40th anniversary box set that I picked up a few years back. I remember I was having a real low point, and you're probably thinking, so you went out and bought The Exorcist, but Steve knew that version had just come out, and he knew that I liked The Exorcist, so he said, why don't I just take you to Walmart and you can see if you can pick that up. And so Steve is, you know, over time he's been good about that. If I'm feeling low, then he will kind of try to help me out that way. Darren, you say, I think good wins, but it depends on your spiritual beliefs, I guess. It's all interpretation. No one's wrong. Exactly. Where did I get this version, Dirk? Several years ago, I think I picked it up at Walmart. I was thinking Steve took me over to Walmart, and they actually had 1 or 2 copies, and I bought one. You may be able to still pick it up, maybe at Amazon possibly, or maybe eBay if somebody's not price gouging it. We got a few more I'm going to try to cover if everybody, wants to hang in here with me. If you would rather me stop instead of going ahead and hold on, I think I'm going to sneeze. So let's just take a vote. How many of you would want me to go on and try to finish these last 6 or 7? Or who would prefer that I save the rest of them for tomorrow? And I will go with either choice, because I think I can hold out long enough to talk about the others, because like I said, I'm not dissecting these films. I'm basically just telling you why I think they're possession films. Yes, Darren, that version does look good. Durkee says, sorry, Dana, can you tell me who released that again? This is Warner Brothers, I believe. I don't believe there was any other company or anything that put it out. I think yeah, I literally think Warner Brothers put that out. Darren, you say I'm good if you carry on. Okay, cool. Durkee said go for it. All right. Okay. So we got two yays. Haven't had anybody give me a nay yet. Yeah. I'm just wondering. Hold on just a second, guys. I'm gonna check something here. For my own curiosity and also for Dirk's benefit as well. By the way, I'm seeing that leap of faith here on Amazon. William Friedkin on The Exorcist. That's a really good documentary. Hmm. Yeah, let me see what year this came out. I'm guessing, yeah, this package came out in 2013 from Warner Brothers. But I was just looking on Amazon and not seeing it come up here. Oh, holy crap. um, I found it. Exorcist 40th Anniversary Blu-ray. The multi-format is $179 on Amazon. The Blu-ray is $50, which I would just say, like, if I was you, Dirk, I would go for the $50 one. You can get it, and if you got Prime, if you ordered it today or tonight, you could get free delivery by Saturday, July 30th. Um, so I would say, yeah, you can definitely pick it up from Amazon. John, you say, do y'all sell much too, or just buy usually? Um, Sometimes I sell quite a bit, but I tend to buy more than I sell. I mean, for the majority of the time. John, you say, I don't sell anymore, but I used to. I'm too hoardish now. See, Steve won't let me be hoarderish anymore. He makes me get rid of stuff. Durkee said, I don't sell physical media anymore. I give it to friends and family. I've done that too. I've gave my mom many films. Um, Darren, you say also, does it have both versions? This has the director's cut and the original theatrical version are included. John, you say, yeah, sorry if I'm recovering ground, but wasn't the x-ray tech who was a real life killer the inspiration for cruising? Yes, I have heard that he was. Um, Darren, you say I should sell more than I do, to be honest. Oh, you're welcome, Dirk. I always like to, let people know if they're interested in buying something that I have, and they're interested in getting it and want to know where they can get it at. So moving right along is Kevin Tenney's Night of the Demons. Again, I don't think I have to explain to you why this is a possession film. We can look at the daggone cover of this and realize, yes, this is a possessed by demons film. There's no doubt about that. Um, this has always been a fun movie for me. This version from Scream Factory is the complete unrated version with extra gore and violence, so you can enjoy all that. Um, I actually met Amelia Kincaid a few years back at a convention, and she was really sweet. Um, so if you ever get a chance to meet her at a convention or anywhere else, I would definitely go up and meet her. I also met Kevin Tenney a few years back as well, before he lost all the weight. So he was, I mean, but Kevin Tenney is Kevin Tenney. He's a really cool guy. Um, this also has Linnea Quigley on it, and Jill Terashita, Kathy Podwell, and like I said, Amelia Kincaid. William Gallo is in this. And like I said, it's directed by none other than Kevin S. Tenney. Let's see. Dougie say Exorcist is my number 3 all-time favorite film of all time. Darren, you say William Friedkin said on his Twitter last week that he wants nothing to do with the Exorcist remake. And yeah, like, that's one of the reasons why I have high respect for Friedkin. He pulls no punches, he takes no shit, and he tells you like it is. And if he doesn't like something, he's not afraid to tell you. Now, I think some people had a hard time working with him. Jason Miller, for instance, who played Father Karras in The Exorcist, he did not like Friedkin's directing methods at all. And that is clear in one of the documentaries that was done. Yeah, John, exactly. Friedkin don't give a fuck. I don't believe he does. Darky said, yeah, he's an asshole too, Darren. LOL. Darren, you say top 3, I think, for me as well. Milek, you say, I hope movie studios remake some of the better possession movies since they love sequels, but less love for horror, it seems. X-Ray, you say, 70s directors were much crazier. I think in a lot of respects they were. More willing to go over the line with a lot of stuff. Kind of on the razor's edge, so to speak. John, you say oftentimes the best directors are a bit difficult and bossy. You said they take charge. Yes, Darren, Friedkin did shoot a gun on set, and that was one of the things that Jason Miller did not like. And he basically told Friedkin this. He's like, I'm an actor. I don't need that extra stuff to make me react. And so he pretty much told Friedkin off about that. X-Ray, you say Kubrick drove poor Shelley Duvall into madness. I don't know what's happened to poor Shelley Duvall, but she evidently has some mental issues going on that are not being taken care of. It's so sad. John, you say Chris Nolan is a rare example of a good director who's not abusive, LOL. And you say, and maybe Spielberg, he's not crazy aggressive. Yeah, I don't get that feeling. I don't get that feeling from De Palma either, but maybe some people do. John, you say, oh yeah, Kubrick was rough. I need to rewatch Eyes Wide Shut soon. So, again, y'all keep chatting in there. I'm going to go over, like I said, I don't think I need to go over the plot of Night of the Demons, and I think everybody can see clearly on that cover why this would be considered a possession film. Some of these others that I've been talking about or will talk about may need a little more explanation, but I don't think this one does. But the special features on the Scream Factory release, you get new commentary with director Kevin Tenney and actors Kathy Powell, Hal Havens, Billy Gallo, and FX artist Steve Johnson. Audio commentary with director Kevin Tenney, executive producer Walter Jostin, and producer Jeff Jeffrey. New interviews with cast and crew, including director Kevin Tenney, writer and producer Joe Augustin, and actress Linnea Quigley. a promo reel, video trailer, theatrical trailer, TV and radio spots, still galleries, and much more. And that is Night of the Demons. And the tagline says you'll have a hell of a time, and you definitely will. The next one, we've got about 5 more to talk about after this one, and I promise I'm going to try to go through them as briefly as I can. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Yes, I know this one has part 3 on it as well, but it's the only version of it I've got right now to show you, other than the box set. I've got a small box set back there. But Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Why do I consider this one a possession film? Basically, because in this is the one and only Nightmare on Elm Street film where you actually see Freddy take complete control of someone and make them do his bidding. So Mark Patton's character of Jesse seems to be a pretty normal high school boy, other than he likes to dance around in his bedroom in as you guys said, a cringy dance scene towards about a fourth of the way in the film or whatever. Other than he's having really bad nightmares about Freddy Krueger. So then Freddy ends up, this is too where the Nightmare on Elm Street movies kind of like, and this was only the second one. In this one, Freddy was actually able to, through Jesse, get out of the dream world and into the physical world and be able to kill more kids that way. This has also been called, in resulting years, the gayest, probably either the gayest horror movie ever made or the gayest Nightmare on Elm Street movie ever made. And, you know, when I first saw it, I didn't catch all those gay nuances in it. But now I'm like, oh, yeah. When he goes to Grady's house and he wants Grady to watch him while he sleeps, and if he starts acting weird, then Grady needs to wake him up. And he tells Grady that something's trying to get in my body. And Grady says, yeah, she's female and she's waiting for you in the cabana and you want to spend the night with me. So there's a lot of little things like that on a first watch you probably don't catch. And some of it may have been pre-programmed into us now that we've heard people say, oh yeah, there's a lot of gay elements in this film. So then when we go and watch it now, we're like, is that one? Is that one? Is that one? You know, we're doing that. But we're not really talking about gay horror films. I mean, they called Friday the 13th Part 7 Fry Gay because a lot of the male actors in the movie were gay. So, you know, this one's not the only one that has had that, I don't really want to say shadow, but had that hanging around it for a lot of years. Let's see here. John, you say good call. Brian De Palma is awesome. Dirk, you say ready for EWS 4K. John, you say I can't pick a bad De Palma film, bad De Palma from 70s to 80s. He doesn't slack off until maybe mid 90s. Middle Lake, you say ISO 2022 Outlier Collins like WTK, Cello XSP, etc., needs more love. Darren, you say Fulci was a bully, and when people stood up to him, he backed down. Everyone is different. Yeah. John, you say, yeah, Darren, believe that. Ha ha. Darren, you say De Palma got a good batting average. Not too many bad films. No. John, you say, isn't that a shame? We know that 4K set is all but done. Wink, wink, Felcher. X-Ray, you say, it's weird. Nightmare 3 used to be my favorite sequel, but Freddy 2 seems to age better each year. It's the darkest, most perverse one. It has a grimy vibe. It definitely does. It even has that S&M bar thing, which adds an extra layer of sleaze to it. Darren, you say, unpopular opinion, but I prefer Nightmare 2, the original. No, I think that, actually, I think that's cool that you think that, because so many people want to say, oh, the first one's my favorite, And actually, the first one is my favorite, but I enjoy part 2. I enjoy part 3. I even enjoy part 5. 4 is one of the highlights for me. I love that one. But then the ones, after 5 were kind of, uneven in my opinion. Johnny, so Freddy in part 2 has the scariest makeup. His eyes are fucking insane in that one. Yeah, they're like the scene at the pool, where they're having the party. That is really bizarre looking with the eyes. X-Ray, you say, I think if the movie had nothing to do with Freddy Krueger, it was just a brand new story, it would have been received better. John, you say, 2 has Robert Ressler, so I dig it. Robert did good in all his 80s roles. Yeah, Robert Ressler is an incredible actor, in my opinion. Actually, you say, Nightmare 2 is gayer than Cruising. Texas, you say, Freddy meets old Curly Jaws. By the way, old Curly Jaws isn't in here tonight, but I bet he went on over to the Dead Pit live stream. Mill, like you say, QNT's white paper may have been written by God, and QNT is going to 6 digits inevitably. John, you say, I saw the original in theater a month ago in Nashville, and they had a new sound mixing available for it. It sounded incredible. That score and stuff popped. I still say 1 is the best. Darren, you agree that part 4 is definitely one of the best. It's just, there's something ultimately fun about that one. X-Ray, you say, Freddy's Dead was way worse than Freddy 2. Let's be real, it was the worst one. Honestly, the main reason why I went to see Freddy's Dead at the theater was an opportunity to go see a horror film in 3D. Let's see. Millelect, you say, LCX is the best exchange coin in my opinion. Millelect, are you okay? Because I'm not getting what you're talking about now. What happened here? Did you get some of those gummies like my husband has? Is it just me, guys, or am I the only one that's not understanding Millelect right now? Darky say, I've never been a huge fan of the pedo dream demon, just my opinion. Gotcha. And that's okay. That is okay, Dirk. I love all the different opinions we have. John, you say, I like New Nightmare. I know some don't, but it's nostalgic for me as a kid. Oh, I love it. Texas, you say, Freddy's Dead definitely sucks. Menelec says XSP is a sleeper. Okay, John, you say, X-Ray, you say it's a spam account? Okay. Well, he was okay earlier, but now he started like, I don't know if it's a bot or what. It's like, what in the heck? What's going on here? Uh, so, yeah. Hold on just a second, guys. Okay. So, yeah, I had enough of that. So, right now I'm putting him in timeout. So, because there for a little bit I was reading his stuff, but I'm like I don't know what he's talking about. Exchange coins and stuff. That doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. But thank you for looking him up, X-Ray. I think I'm going to have to start adding some moderators on here because to help me kind of wrangle some of these people if I start getting more of them. John, you say I used to always confuse part 4 and 5. I don't know why. They just ran together for me. You say for me, I think 3, and then I think New Nightmare. I just go 1, 2, 3, New Nightmare. Darren, you say, I don't even count Freddy versus Jason. That's a whole different discussion. Yes, I agree with you. Um, oh, thank you, Texas. You blocked his ass. Okay. Like I said, he seemed to be talking about the movies at first, and then all of a sudden it's like he went haywire. So thank you for helping me out with that. Um, so I'm going to talk about some special features on just part 2 here. So you get 4 featurettes: Freddy on A Street, Heroes and Villains, The Male Witch, and Psychosexual Circus. And you also get a theatrical trailer. And that is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. I do highly recommend this one, by the way. Um, yeah, John, 4 does pretty much lead into 5 because the character of Alice carries over from 4 into 5. Um, so moving right along, and this was one somebody brought up earlier, it might have been Dirk, is Prince of Darkness. I also have a 4K of this. It looks amazing in 4K. You do get Dolby Atmos with this one, so John Carpenter's score for this one sounds absolutely amazing on this with the Dolby Atmos and everything. Um, this movie actually has multiple possessions in it. Um, and like one of the creepiest possessions is that of the, I hate to just say the black guy, but I can't remember the guy's name. Once he gets possessed by whatever this demonic entity is, he is like seeming to laugh and cry at the same time and singing a religious song. And then he basically kills himself in front of everybody. And I was like, that is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. And to me, it is utterly chilling. Um, so there are other possessions in it, but that one is a real standout for me. But the woman that like starts out with it turns out to be some kind of symbol, but she thinks it's a bruise at first, and then it's almost like she becomes impregnated by the evil. And there are a couple of creepy scenes where she's walking around like, yeah, like that, and like I just think this movie is chock full of excellent performances, a great soundtrack, which, like I said, is ultimately enhanced by this Dolby Atmos sound. So if you don't have this on 4K and you have the 4K capability to be able to watch it, and you have the Dolby Atmos enabled sound system, I would highly, highly recommend this Scream Factory 4K. So, again, I don't think I need to really explain in deep detail why this is considered a possession film. Actually, it is a multiple possession film. And oh, goodness. Let's see. John, you said this movie is very underrated. Liquid Satan, exactly. John, you said that whole scene of Dennis done screaming for them to get him out of that closet while the pizza face blonde girl's waking up scared. Yeah, that whole scene is very tense and scary. Um, Actually, you say Dare can't say black guy with her accent and not get canceled by Twitter. Darren, you say, I've still not seen Prince of Darkness. I hear it's Argento like, so it's on my radar. Oh, Darren. I encourage you so much to watch this movie as soon as you possibly can. This movie is John Carpenter at his best. Halloween is great, and I consider that one of his best too. But this has so many levels that are just so many levels of awesomeness. I mean, I know that sounds kind of generic, but I just love this movie. And I can watch this movie any time of the year, but I tend to really want to watch it in the fall, sometimes close to Halloween. And I don't know exactly why, but it just feels like a fall-like movie to me. Dirk, you say, Prince of Darkness score is highly underrated. I wish the way the movie ends was done better. Yeah, I was a little. If I was disappointed by anything in the film, it would probably be the ending. John, you say Prince of Darkness isn't talked about a lot because of so many other Carpenter films, but standalone is kind of a classic. It just got lost in the shuffle. X-Ray said the creepiest scenes in Prince of Darkness are the dream transmissions. You take them out of the movie and by themselves are like experimental short films. Yeah, I get that. John, you say, yeah, that dream transmission stuff is like an actual nightmare. Doug, you say, Darren, watch it for a homeless Alice Cooper and Donald Pleasance as a priest. Yeah, for nothing else, you could watch it for those reasons. X-Ray, you say, I think Prince of Darkness is the last of the classic John Carpenter soundtracks. John, you say 1987 was a hard year because of so much competition, and Hellraiser came out that year, so it wasn't as noticed, I bet. Yeah, that could very well be. Darren, you say, okay, interested now. Middle Lake, you're sorry about earlier. Well, I was just confused because I didn't understand what all that stuff was about exchange coins and stuff. I mean, I don't care if you're in here and you stay in here, but we need to stay on topic of the movies pretty much and not talk about exchange coins. So that got very confusing for me a little bit. X-Ray, you say, I like to think Father Loomis is Dr. Loomis's twin bro. Shared universe. That's great. So I want to talk about a few of some of the special features on here. You get the feature film in 4K and on Blu-ray. New 7.1 Dolby Atmos audio in Dolby Vision HDR compatible. Audio commentary with director John Carpenter and actor Peter Jason, who is also in They Live, which I recently rewatched as well in 4K. Sympathy for the Devil, an interview with John Carpenter, Blu-ray only. Alice at the Apocalypse, an interview with Alice Cooper, Blu-ray only. The Messenger, an interview with actor and special visual effects supervisor Robert Grasmere, and that's also Blu-ray only. Hell on Earth, a look at the film score, an interview with co-composer Alan Howarth. Horror's Hallowed Grounds, another awesome entry by Sean Clark. A look at the film's original locations, alternate opening from the TV version, and more. And most of those special features are only on the Blu-ray, of course. And so that is Prince of Darkness. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Okay. John, you say it came out around the same time as Baby Boom and Princess Bride, so it probably didn't shine much box office wise. And most of 87 was all about RoboCop. Turkey say, laughing my ass off, X-Ray. Darren, you say, Donald Pleasance and Fatal Frames. Yeah. See, that's still fresh in my mind because we just covered that on Eurocult. John, you said, not even Dr. Loomis and Egg Shin together could kill Satan. Dirk, you said, laughing my ass off, Darren. Okay, so the next one might be one that I have to give a little explanation of why I consider it a possession film. And I don't know how many of you guys have watched this one or even heard of it, but it is The Redeemer, Son of Satan. It was also under the title of Class Reunion Massacre. It is, sorry, I gotta slide my glasses up. It is from 1978. And the reason why I consider this a possession film is because we're shown a little boy, or I guess not little, but probably 13-ish or so. Darren loves Class Reunion Massacre. So, Darren, I know you love it, but do you consider it a possession film? Johnny said, I've never seen this. Sounds almost like a Dio song. But yet, it's nothing like a Dio song. But yeah, I get what you're talking about. So, you have a 13-year-old boy, or around that age, who has a double thumb on one hand, and he basically comes out of this quarry or something. And what's a little confusing about this is he's considered the Redeemer, but he's also considered the son of Satan. So what he ends up doing is possessing a priest to kill off these people who have sinned. So it's almost like he's not purely like a satanic influence, but yet he's killing people. And so the priest ends up donning several disguises and luring these people who he's supposed to kill off because they've sinned. He lures them to a class reunion. Although this is kind of, it's very low budget. It's kind of cheesy at times. Some of the actors are a little, not very good actors and actresses. But, something else I was noticing on this, though, this is the first time I've ever seen bad reviews or bad things said about a movie on the actual case of the movie, because I'm looking at this. It said, this is a silly, sanctimonious slasher film with a silly apocalyptic theme There is consequently nothing remotely original about this film, and this was said by Calvin Binion of AllMovies.com. And here's another, it's got 2 bad reviews on the back. Guilty of the same gaping plot holes and cardboard characterizations as any other. Nothing is ever adequately developed or explained. So the film becomes memorable for its opacity alone. And that's by Fred Belden of AllMovies.com. But you can see there, or I hope you can see, that he dons a clown mask at one point. And that is probably one of the creepiest disguises that he puts on. A lot of the other disguises, to encourage them to come into the dilapidated school for this fake class reunion, he kills the caretaker or the janitor or whatever you want to call it for this building. And somehow he amazingly knows how to do special makeup effect stuff. He's able to make a mold of this dead guy's face, make a latex mask, and put it on. Now, I don't really know why he needs to do that, because obviously the people coming to this fake class reunion have never seen this guy. They don't know, he could have looked like himself, but maybe he was just wanting to protect his real identity. I'm not really sure about that. But it is basically, in my opinion, a possession film, because the boy, as the Redeemer, does take possession of the priest. Like I said, makes him do the bidding of the Redeemer. And then at the end of the film, the priest has had this double thumb ever since. It was almost like he was asleep, and I don't know if it was part dream or what, but you see the boy's shadow, and the double thumb passes from the boy to the priest. But then when he has completed redeeming all these people, the double thumbs goes back to the young boy. But the boy also does a fair share of killing. He kills another fellow choir member. And he also kills the guy that drives the church van or bus or whatever. Or maybe, no, that's not what he does. He doesn't kill him. I'm having a major drawing blank. I think he's going to allow the van driver or the bus driver to be blamed for the choir boy's death, because he basically kills him and puts him in the back of this guy's van. So I love this film. This is a Code Red release. The only bad thing I will say about this particular release is it has, and I think I brought this up before, it has what I unlovingly refer to as sparkler head. There is one scene in this movie, and this is a Blu-ray, keep in mind, where green streaks, and it does look like a sparkler that you would have at the 4th of July, is over this woman's face for a few seconds. I was like, what the heck? What happened to this? But as we all know, the guy that runs Code Red never blames himself for anything and doesn't want anybody else to blame him for stuff. It's always somebody else's fault why our particular release looks shitty, or, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, Bill Olsen, exactly. Let's see. John, you say, I've never seen this. Sounds almost like a Dio song. Darren, you say, yeah, I consider it a possession mixed with a slasher film. Dirk, you say, can't believe I just thought about Christine as a possession film. Yes, Dirk, I'm so glad you brought that up. That is definitely one I'd want to cover if I do a second one of these. Darren, you said the killer in this film is so creepy. He definitely is. That, to me, that is one of the best parts of this film. Darren, you say, Dirk, you seen this? Dirk, you said, not that I recall. Yeah, I highly recommend it too, Dirk. Yes, John, that guy's an odd duck. Bill Olsen's definitely office rocker. Darren, you say, not many slashers creep me out, but this one did. Some of those death scenes are epic. Dirk, you say, I'll have to check it out. Where can you buy it? You know, Bill Olsen being the way he is, he a lot of times he will say, well, these are out of print. And then he will turn around and dig up some out of his basement or whatever and sell them at inflated prices on eBay. I've seen him do that a bunch of times. But I'm not sure if you could pick it up at Amazon. Let me check that. I think Steve got me this one. Well, it was on Prime Video at one time, but now it's currently unavailable. I wonder if I click on it, if it will give me other versions of it. Perhaps not. I was just kind of curious. I mean, I guess you could always go the eBay route, but here we go. The Blu-ray on Amazon is going for $79.95 plus $4.49 shipping. So yeah, I would try looking just to see if somebody maybe had it for a decent price on eBay. And it could possibly be on Tubi if you just wanted to watch it, Dirk. And it could be on YouTube possibly. Darren, you say you got the old Code Red DVD, but it is out on Blu-ray now. John, you say, how many real hidden gem slashers do you think we've yet to find? I can't imagine there being much more. Well, you know, I've been saying that for a lot of years. There couldn't be that many more, and I just keep finding them. So I don't know. I really don't know. Darren, you say, John, I think there will always be gems unheard of. Slashers are a gift that keeps giving. Yeah, Darren, I thought it was on YouTube before. But with Tubi having so many things on there, it may be on there as well. So this was considered, too, a 1978 drive-in classic. And it really, it does fit that drive-in. It does have that drive-in feel. Now, Janetta Arnett is probably Janetta Arnett is probably the biggest name in this movie. There's actually more than one blonde, but she's the one blonde that is in the bar with this drunk guy at the beginning of it. She was on Head of the Class. And, but other than, I really don't see any special features, and I don't recall there being any. And, it does seem like pretty generic packaging for this one. It's not not an eco case. It's a pretty sturdy case, but other than that, no. Um, but anyway, that is the Redeemer, or AKA Class Reunion Massacre. Highly, highly recommend this one. Uh, yeah, Darren, you say yours doesn't have any special features either. Um, okay, so we're down to the final three, guys, and it's a little bit after 11. So, you guys want me still keep going and cover these last three? Say yay or nay, and I will either go on or I will stop right where I'm at. You have the one sheet, Darren. That's pretty cool. John saying, sure, keep on. Now, you sure that I didn't want to keep anyone from going over to, or feeling that they had to divide their time between mine and the Dead Pit show. So I don't know if they're still going on with theirs or not. I think theirs was starting at 9, so it could be possible they're still going on. Derek, you say for sure. Darren says carry on. John says keep on. You're off tomorrow, John. You lucky dog. I'm off for the weekend, but I've got to take my dog to the vet for his annual checkup. And then I have to, well, before we go there, I have to go to the little clinic and try to get another doctor's note to give to my manager so that I can continue to work from home. But, so, the next one I'm going to talk about is The Shining, which I really don't think I have to get really descriptive about why I consider this a possession movie, but I'll tell you a little bit about why I think it's a possession movie. And that is because I feel like the Jack Torrance character literally gets possessed by these ghosts in the Overlook Hotel. I know alcoholism and stuff plays a big part. Child abuse plays a big part. Even spousal abuse plays a big part in this movie. But also, if it wasn't for those damn ghosts still hanging around there, I don't think it would have gotten to the point that it did. But if it hadn't, we would have had no movie. And if Stephen King hadn't written The Shining the way he did, there would have been no book. And it is a great book. And I also think Kubrick's version of The Shining is a great horror movie. It just doesn't follow Stephen King's book that well. But, so Kubrick had his chance. He made The Shining, or this version of The Shining. He made Kubrick's version of The Shining. It literally says Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And Stephen King had his chance many moons later and did the miniseries, which was closer to his book in a lot of ways. Darky said, greatest film ever made. The Shining, I thought that you had said that before about The Shining, and it is definitely in the top of a lot of lists that I could come up with. I do enjoy this as a horror movie. It is, think what you want about Kubrick. This is a very well-made horror movie. And again, hits all the buttons. But this is the 4K of it. It looks awesome. I don't believe this has Dolby Atmos, but it'd probably be cool if it did. It would definitely be cool if it did. So you get special features just on the Blu-ray disc, it seems. You get commentary by Steadicam inventor and operator Garrett Brown and historian John Baxter, which that is actually on 4K and Blu-ray. Vivian Kubrick's documentary, The Making of The Shining, which I love that documentary, with optional commentary. 3 mesmerizing featurettes, View from the Overlook, Crafting the Shining, The Visions of Stanley Kubrick, and Wendy Carlos, composer. So there's The Shining, and I do apologize for not going into extreme detail with a lot of these, but again, I'm really trying to focus more on the possession aspect of each one of these rather than giving a straight review of them. Let's see. Darren, you say Dirk's favorite. It's a top 5 for me as well. Love it. Dirk, you say Kubrick made The Shining better, in my opinion. I think, there were some missteps with that miniseries. Mainly, in my opinion, the kid they cast as Danny. That kid just could not pull the part off at all. So, and was quite annoying, in my opinion, in the movie. Darren, you say, like The Exorcist has possession and child abuse elements, never made that comparison before. You could watch this 100 times and still not fully grasp every detail. Exactly. Okay. So, the next to last one, and I might need to give a little explanation on this one, Wes Craven's Shocker. And so why do I think this is considered a possession film? It's because the character of Horace Pinker, once he is executed, he has the ability to hop in and out of not only appliances like TVs and radios and stuff, but also to jump into the bodies of other people. For instance, a little girl in the park, which is entirely creepy. And, as well as other characters in the movie, in order to get to one guy in the movie. So really, Horace Pinker goes to great lengths in order to try to kill this one character in the movie by essentially almost driving him crazy by killing all those around him that he cares about. Dark, you say, right, it can be a ghost movie or Wendy's crazy. Darren, you say, I think Jack was unhinged even in the car at the start, but that hotel threw him over the edge. Exactly. Dark, you say, really, so many ways to interpret The Shining. Oh, definitely. We could spend days, hours or days talking about that. Like you say, Shocker is a character like the movie Denzel Washington was in. Yeah. I think you're probably talking about Fallen. Is that the one? Where he almost died, but I cannot remember the name. Dirk, you say, there's a theory that Wendy is the crazy one, LOL, imagining it all, which is an interesting theory, I think. Like you say, yeah, it's Fallen. Darren, you say, I've not seen Shocker, but I love the Megadeth song, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Yeah. So that basically, in a nutshell, is why I consider this a possession film. For that golden nugget of the scene where he possesses the little girl. And the girl looks strangely familiar, almost like she should have been riding a tricycle or something in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. She reminded me of one of those little blonde girls in that. Dark, you say Shocker is a fun one. Yeah, I like it. Not really high budget fare, but still a really cool, fun film. John, you say, The Shining is a classic. I tried to do that Wendy, darling, light of my life monologue once for an acting thing ages ago. LOL, I failed miserably. But at least you tried, John. That's the important thing. What I have is a collector's edition from Scream Factory. I'll talk a little bit about the special features on it. You get audio commentary with writer and director Wes Craven, audio commentary with director of photography Jacques Haitkin, producer Robert Engelman, and composer William Goldstein. All new interviews with actor Mitch Pileggi, actress Kami Cooper, and executive producer Shep Gordon. No More Mr. Nice Guy, the music of Shocker. Theatrical trailer, TV and radio spots, vintage interviews, a still gallery, and storyboard gallery. Darren, you say, I have Shocker on DVD that's boxed up where I can't get to it. There's a HD rip on YouTube at least a few weeks ago. Yeah, so if I'm guessing if you wanted to, catch up on it, you could do that. But yeah, I highly recommend Shocker, especially if you've never seen this one before. This is fun. Great little piece of Wes Craven history. Not a classic per se, but still a really fun movie. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen House 3, Darren, but yeah, it seems like I had heard that somewhere. Okay, Dirk. Well, hopefully I can see you in the next live stream I do. I may do one tomorrow night. Who knows? But thank you for sticking around as long as you did. It's been fun hanging out with you. Johnny says Shocker is on HBO Max, or was in HD. You watched it last year, John? Okay. So, even though I pulled the wrong movie out, this is Slumber Party Massacre 2 and 3, I actually meant to pull out my DVD for Sorority House Massacre 2, which is actually the one with the possession in it. And I know it primarily shows up at the end of the movie pretty much, but actually the possession of the driller killer actually jumps into one of the girls in the sorority house a lot earlier on. We just pretty much don't realize it until the end. Is this a good movie? No, it's not. But is it a fun movie? Yeah, I think so. And it also had a kind of a semi-sequel to a sequel to Sorority House Massacre called Hard to Die, which had a similar setup and had some of the same actresses from Sorority House Massacre, only this was in a high-rise where the killings were taking place and the possession was taking place. Well, I'll say that as a slasher movie, I prefer Sorority House Massacre. Hey, James Rose. But Sorority House Massacre 2, you straight guys are gonna really like it because you get a lot of TNA. A lot of TNA in this one. A lot more than the original Sorority House Massacre. So I definitely know that Steve prefers part 2 to the first one. Because he definitely doesn't get to see enough TNA. I mean, you see multiple shots of girls in the shower rubbing their boobs, and it sounds like they're rubbing balloons, so you hear all the time, which I think is kind of funny, but other guys might find it sexy too. I don't know, but anyway. Hey, TJ, I'm glad you were able to stop in, although I've almost finished up with tonight's tonight's stream, but you may have been watching and just not chatting too. So I'm not sure. This James Rose isn't saying anything. They just have like a big period there by their name. So I don't know if that's like a bot or scammer or whatever. James, if you're not, I'm sorry for saying that. But I have these weird little things happen nowadays when I do my streams. Darren, you say it's been 10 to 15 years though. TJ, you say, hey there all, Sorority House 2 and Hard to Die are super cheesy with blood, boobs, and guns. LOL, exactly. So, because I didn't pull the right movie out, I can't really recall if there was a lot of special features. I don't think there was on that one. Well, Darren, I'm actually getting ready to get off here, so I didn't realize you were watching on your phone. I'm assuming that's what, or are you watching on a laptop? Because at first I thought maybe you meant phone, but then I thought, well, maybe he's watching on the laptop. So yeah, I think it'll probably last out because I'm getting ready to get off of here. So on the phone. Okay, gotcha. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by and hanging out with me tonight. We've been doing this since a little after 8. It is now 11:22. In bed. Well, then you can just go to sleep now, can't you, Darren, whenever we finish up here. So, yeah, I'd like to thank you guys because I know there are a lot of other streams you could be watching, and you guys chose to come to my stream, for which I'm profoundly grateful for. And we might do this again tomorrow night if I can think of something that I want to cover. But I'm starting to get really tired, and like I said, the last 2 days my health has been kind of haywire. The symptoms have seemed to come back with a vengeance a little bit. And so I'm going to try to get some rest. Going to take a shower, have a little snack, get some rest, and maybe watch a few minutes of something and try to get to bed. Thank you, Darren, for saying that it's been another great stream. And on that note, I am going to skedaddle on out of here, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Have a great night.